My name is Henry Saxton, and I'm a student at U of O, and I'm a filmmaker and an animator and an artist. I mean, I've always loved animation, like ever since I could remember, because I grew up with like The Simpsons and Adventure Time and stuff. And so it's always like, and I was like total like Cartoon Network kid, and like always drawing. So I've always just loved it. Yeah, I just love cartoons, and I've watched too many of them. And I always knew I wanted to make cartoons. And so now I'm doing it. A lot of the fun for me in making films and animating is like seeing where it goes and seeing what themes arise. I think a lot of the times I don't like to make a film with a specific meaning or message in mind. I think there's themes bubbling around in my head that I want to express because I have things on my mind. But I think part of the fun is like just creating and then seeing like what messages come from that, you know, what it tells you about yourself and whatever else is going on. Like Buy My Grapes, Blue Sky Sheep, and For the Time Being, those are like the big three to me, because those I had no idea where they were gonna go when I started them. I just had like that original image of like the guy with the sign, or the, you know, floating in space in the waiting room. And I didn't know where those were gonna go, but they like meant, those images were really powerful to me. So I knew I wanted to do that, and I just saw where it went, I guess. For the Time Being, the most recent animation, like I got like very deep into the world of that film when I was making it. And it felt like such a chapter of my life. And sometimes when you get like so like entranced with a project, it can be hard to like know where it ends. I get in such a flow state with animation, and it's like I'm like sitting there drawing, and like 2 hours will go by and it feels like a blink, and it's like the craziest thing ever, and it's so awesome. There's something nice about animation where it's like, okay, everything is like right here, and like I'm in control of everything that's happening, you know? Okay, so on this part, I'm just gonna demonstrate. So with this scene, we just have this guy looking at the phone, and then he kind of thinks for a second, and then he has something to say. So, and since I was doing it on Procreate Pocket on my phone, I could only do one layer of animation at a time in the animation software. So I would then export the files and layer it individually on here. Like layer it manually, I mean. So that's why you have, you know, the space background is one layer, and that's just slowly moving. And then you have the room is another layer. And then you have just the water bottle cap that you can see there is another layer, because it's a green cap and I was doing a green screen. And then there's another layer that's just the guy's face without his mouth. And then another layer of his mouth. And then up here, another layer of his eyes. So it's actually even more layers than I thought. So yeah, it seems pretty simple, but there's a lot that goes into it for such a simple little animation, you know? All right, here we got the OG drawing of the room that I used. Obviously the broom didn't make the cut, but other than that, I think all this stuff made it. Then if I go, let's see. Yeah, if I go over here, we've got like, I was kind of trying to come up with ideas for what the clay character would look like. You know, at one point he was gonna have arms, but that didn't happen. Yeah. I like this one. I like this guitar guy. He could be in something. I think like Being at U of O has been super awesome because there's so many like I'm just surrounded by so many creative people, and it's like really inspiring, like meeting everyone and like being like, oh, you're great at music, oh, you're great at, like there's just so many creative people, and it's like makes me feel like I have to step my game up.
Other people's opinions can be helpful when you have something to show them, and you can sort of like watch their reactions and see like if a moment works in a certain way. I think that could be helpful, but at the end of the day, you gotta like make what you want to make, and the moments have to hit for you, because like that's the whole point of doing it, is for like self-expression, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Art is just such a great way to like better understand yourself and like express feelings that you might be having, and like just learn a thing or two.
Like I think on YouTube especially, on YouTube and on Instagram and on TikTok and like I think there's so many amazing filmmakers that like don't get the attention that they deserve because they're not like establishment, I guess, and I think they don't get taken seriously because they're not going to win an Oscar because it's on Instagram Reels. But I think that's like a lot of the most interesting stuff that's out right now is on the internet. And I think that's like when we look back at film history of like the 2020s or whatever, I think that's what we're going to look back on as like the big thing. Film is finally at a spot where it like most people can do it, right? Like it's like most people could paint a picture, most people could draw, most people could dance, you know. So now film is as an art form is like in that same spot. And I think now is when we can start getting weird with it. It's so accessible and anyone can do it, and I think everyone should make movies. And I think it's beautiful that we don't need like, you don't need funding for it. You don't need professional anything for it. You can just do it.